that because there is some discussion now about needing a new look at gun laws, to at the very least, to provide restrictions to make it harder for those who may be mentally unstable to get a gun or get ammunition?
I don't think there should necessarily be special rules or laws pertaining to members of Congress. You mentioned in the preview a piece of legislation that would prohibit somebody with a firearm coming within 1,000 feet of a member of Congress. I really disagree with that approach. Well, I was a concealed carry permit holder before I got to Congress. I've continued that since I've been in Congress, and I will continue with it moving forward. At the very least, to provide restrictions to make it harder for those who may be mentally unstable to get a gun or get ammunition. I think what people, Judy, are really struggling with, I wish, we're all mourning the difficult situation that happened on Saturday, to say the least. And I think people are struggling. They want how do we fix this so it never, ever happens again? And, it's difficult to point to just one thing, but it's very, very important that we don't overreact either.
I'm curious as to how much responsibility you feel specifically because of something that happened this morning. During the reading of the Constitution, Congressman Frank Pallone of New Jersey was reading a portion of the document, interrupted by someone who heckled from within the chamber. It was to express doubt over the president's American citizenship. Provided you believe the president is an American citizen, you've got 12 members co-sponsoring legislation that does about the same thing. It expresses doubt. Would you be willing to say this is a distraction? I've looked at it to my satisfaction. Let's move on.
The state of Hawaii has said that President Obama was born there. When you come to the Congress of the United States, there are 435 of us. We're nothing more than a slice of America. And people come, regardless of party labels, they come with all kinds of beliefs and ideas. It's the melting pot of America. It's not up to me to tell them what to think.
Be specific about her views on creationism versus evolution. But as I understand it, she did say that she thought that the two subjects should be taught side by side in public schools. Do you think that's a good idea?
I saw her comments on it yesterday, and I thought they were appropriate, which is, let's if there are competing theories and they are credible, her view of it was, according to the comments in the newspaper, allow them both to be presented so students could be exposed to both, and so students could be exposed to both. And
what is the Republican plan to deal with carbon emissions, which every major scientific organization has said is contributing to climate change?
George, the idea that carbon dioxide is a carcinogen that is harmful to our environment is almost comical. Every time we exhale carbon dioxide.
I think we know that just within a day or so, the President of the United States will be taking a trip over to India that is expected to cost the taxpayers $200 million a day. He's taking 2,000 people with him. He'll be renting out over 870 rooms in India, and these are five-star hotel rooms at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. This is the kind of over-the-top spending.
No one really knows the cost because, for security reasons, they don't disclose the cost. So this idea that it's $200 million, whatever, is simply made up.
Well, these are the numbers that have been coming out in the press, and of course, those are the numbers that I have to read.
Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, after the interview, we did some checking on the claim that President Obama's trip to India is costing $200 million a day, which seemed like a lot when she brought it up. Congresswoman Bachmann said it's in news reports. It may be on the internet. That doesn't actually make it true, though. Turns out the source of this unsubstantiated claim is not from Politico. It's from an Indian news report, and the original report is actually from an anonymous Indian source, allegedly an Indian provincial official. How he would know how much President Obama's trip is costing, I'm not sure. After the interview, we went back, asked the White House for further details. They said, quote, "The numbers reported in this article have no basis in reality. Due to security concerns, we're unable to outline details associated with security procedures and costs, but it's safe to say these numbers are wildly inflated." As for how inflated, we can get some idea from Bill Clinton's similar Asian trip as president, which is widely considered the most expensive ever. The estimated bottom line for that trip, $50 million, and not per day, but for the entire trip.
Just so we're perfectly clear here, you do believe it was wrong what Congressman Wilson did last night, right?
Well, I think again, I think Joe Wilson would agree that
you're allowed to say, Congressman, yes or no. Yes, it was wrong. No, it wasn't. Yes or no. Was it wrong or not?
Well, it was not in accordance with the decorum of the House. But let me quickly add, there were plenty of times I was uncomfortable. There are plenty of times I was uncomfortable about the Democrats' response to George W. Bush. So